I've harvested all my basil, so what am I going to do with it? Let me show you. This beauty is sweet Thai basil. This is the very last of it, so I'm going to salvage what I can off of here, and I'm going to freeze it in water for, hopefully, it'll taste the same. Well, it didn't taste the same. It wasn't bad, just not my personal favorite, and it was still good in water. I removed the leaves to freeze, also one of my ways to save regular basil, and thankfully I had plenty of this drying in the basement, and I'll show you that in a sec. I left the blooms on and then I hung it to dry to save for seeds. I packed the leaves in the trays. These trays have a silicone bottom and it makes it much easier to remove after it's frozen, and you can also use silicone trays as well. Then I add water and I press everything down in to try to cover with water as much as possible. Now let me show a difference between the two basils that I dry for tea. The sweet Thai basil has smooth leaves and bigger blooms, and the holy basil has the jagged leaves and a ton of medicinal properties. Now after it's dried, I remove the leaves from the stems, and I blended both varieties and I store it in an airtight container and drink it as a tea. And it's good hot or iced, and it smells heavenly, and it's great with a touch of honey. Disclaimer, I am no doctor, but holy basil has been used by many as an adaptogen. So, in a nutshell, an adaptogen is a plant or herb that helps the body adapt to stress, fatigue. It improves overall immune function, and it can balance hormones. It can reduce inflammation, and it has many other wonderful properties, and it smells wonderful. And did I mention it smells amazing? Let's move on to our regular basil that you're probably more familiar with. This is a Genovese and a sweet basil blended. Here I've just blended with water. How much water? It just depends on how much basil you have. And you can see the consistency that I have here. And you can make it thicker as well. Just as long as you can spoon it into the tray or silicone mold, it'll be fine. And then we freeze it. This is good for recipes that really don't want to add any additional oil, like soups, for example. The next way, however, is my go-to method, and it's preserved in oil. I just add a little bit of oil in each tray so that you get a nice solid cube when you start to add your basil. I remove the leaves from the stems and I chop it finely. When leaves are frozen in oil, they retain the original color better. Basil frozen in the water or just frozen are a real dark green, almost black. I'll show you the difference here in a minute. The basil in the olive oil is a great way to use it when you're sauteing onions, veggies, meat. Also, you can then bring it to room temperature and add it to dressings. After we pack the trays, I add a little more olive oil to cover the leaves, and then I pack it in real good with a spoon. After it comes out of the freezer, you can see how it turned dark in the water. It's not that appealing visually, but it's still tasty. The leaves in the oil are much greener, and the oil also takes a little longer to completely freeze. Then I store it in bags in the freezer and pull it out as needed. Another way I like to preserve my fresh basil is an herb-infused butter. Butter boards are all the rage right now. Basically what a butter board is it's like a charcuterie
Pull yourself together.
Charcuterie board. A charcuterie board, but with butter.
It's more like it.
So what I have here is a pound of salted butter, roasted garlic, and fresh basil. This is about a cup of fresh basil. I'm going to start with half a cup, and I'm going to start with 2 cloves of the roasted garlic and blend that and taste it, and we can adjust as we go. going to blend that up for a minute and start adding the butter. More garlic. I think that half a cup was enough basil. Just gonna pop that one little clove out there. Okay, you can see what that looks like. It's just all blended. I'm gonna try to keep it in one large clump because I'm gonna make it into a log, a big yummy log of garlic and basil butter. Let it chill so we can slice it into pretty little slices. So basically, we don't need any snooppervisors. You go on. And then I'm just rolling it. This is parchment paper. You could use wax paper. You just roll that up. Okay, so this is in the refrigerator for about an hour, and I think it's good enough. Getting ready to put some steaks on the grill. So I'm going to cut some of this up and put it on my steaks as soon as they come off the grill. If you got any value out of this video, I would really appreciate it if you'd hit like and subscribe. And thank you so much for spending your time with me. I'm Loanna, and this is Little Bit of Homestead. And that's Bo. It's time to eat.